2017, a picture of...
And fun fact, I am also adopted.
This is my son in his kindergarten.
And did you know there's actually a series?
This is their memorabilia box.
I have death cleaned in my mom's closet. The gentle art of Swedish death cleaning. How to free yourself and your family from a lifetime of clutter. Wow, that just sounds liberating, right? Well, I have been death cleaning for 6 years since I started this YouTube channel. And I not only death clean in my home, but I have death cleaned in my mom's closet, in a child's closet, in a mudroom and entryway area. I've also done it in an overpacked closet with an obsession of t-shirts. So needless to say, I have quite a lot of experience when it comes to death cleaning, not only in my own home as a family of 6 with 4 small children ages 4 to 11, but also in other people's homes from all different ages. And after doing this over the years, something unexpected always happens in the process. So if you have a lot of stuff in your home, you're feeling a little chaotic, a little disorganized, or maybe a lot, or you don't want to leave all of your stuff for your loved ones, then keep on watching. Let's take a quick sneak peek on the clients that I've helped and how I can help you within your own home. And did you know there's actually a series on Peacock where you can watch this? They have what are called death cleaners. Dun dun dun. Today I'm sharing with you 5 parts that are going to help you on your journey of Swedish death cleaning. So here's where we're going. Part 1. What is Swedish death cleaning anyway? According to Margareta Magnusson, death cleaning is not about getting rid of your belongings, it's about getting rid of your burden. If I had to sum up Swedish death cleaning in one word, it would be unburdening. 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 Not only yourself, but everybody around you. And I know especially as we get older, I just turned 40 this past January, oftentimes we can feel like a bit of a burden to our family members. And I know as we age, oftentimes that feeling can become more intense. So if we can do a little something to release some of that burden, then yes, let's do it. It's a unique approach to decluttering, organizing, and simplifying your life. And like I mentioned, this is not just for older adults. This is for anyone. These are tips and tricks, thanks to Margareta Magnusson, that I am teaching my 4-year-old all the way up into my 11-year-old. And in fact, my 40-something-year-old husband has also, well, shall I say, he likes to keep things. A lot of things. Keepsake things. Sentimental things, papers, random stuff. In fact, it got to the point where we can no longer share an office because the amount of items he likes to keep is quite different than the amount of items that I like to keep. And we all work differently in our workspaces. So throughout this, I'll talk about how you can incorporate your spouse or partner into this process, because I know most of us don't live alone. We have another person that we have to negotiate with when it comes to stuff and decluttering and organizing. Am I right? Most of these videos that I watch and books that I read about the topic, it's all about one person. Like, what if you have a husband who doesn't want to get rid of anything? What do you do in those situations? You feel like you have organizing, just decluttering handcuffs on. So there are a few things that we're going to ask ourselves in this process. 1, do I truly need this item? Number 2, does this item add value to my life or does it take away? Remember, every single item in your home requires care and attention. You have to touch it. You got to organize it. You got to dust it. You got to store it. You got to clean it. So can you imagine the more items you have within your home, the more of all of that you're doing. The more time is being spent touching, organizing, storing. You get it. And what sort of things am I holding on to out of habit, which is huge, guilt, or obligation? Maybe Aunt Bertha gave you some knick-knack that you're just holding on to because you feel badly if you were to get rid of it, although Aunt Bertha has no idea whether you still have that knick-knack or not. I love this quote from Margareta. A loved one wishes to inherit nice things from you, not all things from you. In fact, my parents are in their 60s, and truth be told, if they were to pass, heaven forbid, I don't think I'd really want anything in their home. I mean, they have a beautiful home, but I don't want the burden of all of my stuff and all of their stuff. Maybe 1 or 2 sentimental things that just would be meaningful to me I would hold on to, but the rest of it, no. So if you are later in your life, 60s and up, and you're watching this video, just keep that in mind. Most of your children don't want all your stuff. I know that is a hard truth to face, but we're gonna work through this together. Speaking of cleaning up our lives and unburdening them, I wanna thank the sponsor of today's video, Live It Up. With 4 kids and running businesses and just trying to keep my house in order, I have to make sure that my energy levels stay up. I need things that are quick, easy, and efficient, and best of all, taste good. So every morning when I get home from the gym, I make one of these super quick while I get my kids ready for school because I don't have time to make my breakfast at that point, but I can at least start fueling myself for the day with the super greens. And in fact, since I've incorporated this into my everyday routine, it has been so easy to maintain it. I feel better about myself because I know that I'm fueling my body with the right things, and it makes me want to continue to do other healthy things in my life. Just add 1 scoop or 2 teaspoons to juice water or your favorite milk. This tastes phenomenal with oat milk and cashew milk, in my opinion, but it's also really tasty with just water. Low in sugar and seriously tastes good. So if better digestion, less bloating, healthy aging, heck to the S, immune support, and enhanced energy sound good to you, make sure that you click the link in the description box below to get 15% your first order of Live It Up. Oh, and if you are wondering, this is caffeine free, especially if you have caffeine sensitivities. And once you start incorporating Live It Up into your everyday routine, you're not going to want to stop. At least that's how I feel. So join me in my lifelong health adventure and having the most amount of energy that I can get out of my day by clicking the link in the description box below. And with that, you're going to get 15% off your first order. Part 2. Why it matters. We all have stuff, and over time, things just start to accumulate and we habituate the amount of items within our home. Now, what got me to start Swedish Death Cleaning was when I started to have children and I got married and I realized my husband likes to hold on to a lot more things than I do, and kids come with a lot of stuff. You know, you got Christmases and everyone's buying them gifts, and they each have birthdays, and then there's Easter, and then there's just all the stuff with all the people. I started to feel overwhelmed. Now, 6 years ago, I was Swedish Death Cleaning, but I didn't really realize what I was doing. I just knew in my heart that if I were to hold on to some of these items, it would be burdensome to people within my family. And it was causing me more stress, more anxiety, more time spent touching, organizing, cleaning, holding, thinking about. The other reason that I embrace this is because with 4 children, my house can go from a peaceful, serene sanctuary with organization, it just feels relieving, to a complete tornado disaster within 60 seconds. No joke. Like, this is what the reality is. And fun fact, I am also adopted, and my biological parents both struggled with mental health and substance abuse. So I grew up living in a house full of chaos, no order, excess of items, just you can't find things, rooms just filled with things. So as an adult, I didn't want to live that way. I didn't want to feel the way that I had felt growing up. Maybe you can relate to that in some way. Maybe some of the habits that you have adopted are ones that you learned growing up as a child and into your adulthood. I say this all to say, sometimes we just do things not really consciously aware of why we're doing them. But after this video, it's going to be a huge wake-up call, a huge eye-opening for us, and you're going to know where to start. You're going to feel a sense of relief. You are going to feel unburdened. Starting today and moving forward, now you get the opportunity to create a new future self. So just because you've lived one way, you grew up one way, this is just the way things are done, you get to change that, not only for yourself, but for your children and your grandchildren. Death cleaning is about taking control of your life, of your home, and leaving behind the things that would truly matter to your loved ones and for yourself. Overall, it's an act of kindness and love, not only for you, but for your loved ones as well. Kindness and love. I want you to think about those things as we start the decluttering and organizing process, that rather than the pain of letting something go, or the fear or the obligation of letting an item go, I want you to remind yourself that I am doing this as an act of kindness for myself and for my loved ones. Now imagine this, you pass away and your loved ones, your children, your grandchildren, they're all busy with their own lives, but now they got to go through your entire house and keep, donate, toss, like they have to figure out what to do with all of these things that you and I have accumulated throughout our lifetime. Now this is where I can tend to struggle a bit, organizing supplies. I like to hold on to them, but I'm really going to go through every everything and decide if it's something that I'm going to use for a project within the next year. And if not, it's time to pass it on. Okay, let me give you a prime example. I bought these baskets maybe 2 years ago and I have yet to use them. I don't know why, but it's just not something that I'm gravitating towards, so I'm gonna donate these, even though they're beautiful. Okay, now this is an item that my daughter is asking about. It's a Stanley snack sort of organizer that you put on your Stanley. I am gonna keep this because she has been asking about it, but otherwise I totally forgot about it. But this is super cute. I love this quote by Margareta. Every item you let go of frees up mental and physical space for new experiences. Isn't that the truth? The less items that you have in your home, you have more time to do, think, and feel, and fill it with experiences that truly matter. Now, I'm going to share something personal with you as it pertains to my husband's family. They are lovely. And with that being said, his grandparents are diagnosably hoarders. I mean, there are things from floor to ceiling, main level, upstairs. There's a tiny path for walking. When those two pass and they're in their 70s, can you imagine all the burden that their children have to deal with? That is painful for me to even think about. They're dealing with the pain of the loss of their grandparents, but now they have to deal with the burden of all their stuff and what to do with it. And I don't think in their heart of hearts that's the legacy that they want to leave behind. But my guess is they have no idea what Swedish Death Cleaning is, and they've never had anyone in their life to help coach them or guide them on how to start that process of letting go. And essentially unburdening all of those around them and leaving a really fantastic legacy of fun and laughter and great memories. So part 3, how to get started with Swedish Death Cleaning. Don't burden your loved ones with sorting through a lifetime of belongings after you're gone. Step 1, shift your mindset. This isn't about getting rid of everything you own and feeling bare and doing minimalism and only having 4 forks in your drawer. It's about intentional living, feeling liberated, new experiences, feeling refreshed, living the next part of your life free. Step number 2, talk about it. Share with your loved ones and your family members or your spouse, if you're in a similar situation as me, what you're doing and why you are doing it, why it's important, how it will affect the family in a positive way, how it will impact those around you. And I have to say, my husband and I have been together for over 20 some years. If we had not hooked up and been together, my guess is that he would have taken on a lot of the same shall I say, storing of items. I don't want to say hoarding of items, but keeping an excess of items in the house as he grew up with. By doing this process, you're not only paving a better life for yourself, but those around you. They see what you're doing it. They see why you're doing it. They understand it better. When you communicate this with your spouse, they're more likely to get on board. As opposed to being like, hey honey, we gotta declutter, we gotta downsize, we gotta get rid of all this crap in our house and it starts now in your closet and your garage and oh my word, how have you accumulated all this stuff? When you approach it that way, they are of course gonna get defensive, and you may certainly feel that way. I know I have at certain periods of my relationship of over 20 years. But when you come at it with love, intention, purpose, and the benefits that you, your spouse, your family members, your partner will get out of it, people are more likely to get on board. And when other people are on board, you're more likely to also stick with it. Step number 3, start small. Do not immediately go towards the keepsakes, the sentimental items, because you're just setting yourself up for failure. Pick a category that you don't have a lot of emotional attachment to. For example, maybe it's books. Now, most of these books they don't read, and we have quite a lot of them. So I'm just gonna fill this bookshelf, and any that don't fit in here, I'm gonna donate. Maybe you have clothes stored up in a closet somewhere. Maybe it's a junk drawer. Maybe it's a cabinet by your garage. Choose a category, a place that, I don't know, doesn't really rev you up too much. If you started with, for example, my kids' keepsake items, their toys, maybe some clothes that I've saved over the years for God knows why. Now, as I'm in this space, I realize these cabinets are filled entirely with puzzles. So when you're organizing and decluttering, try to keep like things with like things. So I'm gonna put all the puzzles together. Also, found this little case here. It's for their little Bakugans. We don't need to hold on to this case because obviously they're not even using it in the way that it is intended. So stuff like this can go. So in the process of creating a donate pile, I'm also creating a / recycle trash pile, like this. I might get a little choked up, and now I've like started this whole process with all these emotions at play, and that's not what we need. But once we get our feet moving, we've cleared some spaces, we've created more intentional living in our home. It could just be a cabinet or a junk drawer. We're more likely to keep that momentum going for a time when we can approach those more sentimental items. Step number 4, sort with purpose. As you're going through these places and spaces within your home, ask yourself a few questions. Do I use it? Do I love it? Or will someone else value it more? Do I use it? Do I love it? Will someone else value it more? Do I use it? Do I love it? Or will someone else value it more? Chances are most of the items in our home, one, we don't use. It's kind of like our closets. We only wear probably 20% of what's in them. At least that's been my experience when I go into other people's homes and reorganize their closets. This is what they tell me. And in fact, it's the same for myself. Do I love it? Sometimes we just keep things to keep things because the pain of letting something go, which is human nature, is too much. We're not even thinking about it, so we just hold on to it. And then over the years, again, things just start to accumulate and clutter up. And then you got the junk drawer, and you got the junk cabinet, you got the junk garage, you got the junk room. It's just a lot. Step number 5, create a legacy drawer or file organizer or a small box. This would be items that you would want your family members to find. Maybe certain keepsakes. Maybe there's a piece of jewelry, a letter of some sort, a picture, some piece of artwork that you think your family members would really value and appreciate. This is my 11-year-old's keepsake box, and I'm gonna venture there's a lot more in here. So let's go through it. Oh yeah, this one is definitely heavier. I don't know if it's just a firstborn thing, but I tend to save everything when it came to my firstborn daughter. Aww, 2017, a picture of the Mother's Day tea. Mothers hold their children's hands for a while, but their hearts forever. Oh, I'm getting kind of choked up about this. Oh, a picture of them with their great grandma. She's still living, by the way. She is in her 90s. Amazing. This is an old dance spring recital book that I don't really need to hold on to. I mean, I have several of these pictures already digitized, so that can go. We're just here in my boys' room. They share a bedroom. They are ages 7 and 9. When it comes to keepsake items, I mean, you can do this if you have children. You can do this if you're older and you have keepsake items. I keep little boxes for them. Let me show you. Up here is one of these boxes. It's a relatively good size, and now it's just filled with, I don't know, like a hockey memorabilia. There's a little baby thing in here. Maybe there's a piece of artwork that one of my kids made that I think, oh, I want to hold on to that. That way, when they're 18 and they move out, if they move out when they're 18, this is their memorabilia box. They can look through this, they can have this. It's just nice and organized. It's easy for them to take. Maybe they don't want to take it. That's completely up to them. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go through these boxes and really see if this was something that I should have kept or not. Because remember, if I want to try to keep everything within this box, I really want to make sure that the items in them are meaningful. Now be careful with this one, because we could all go around our homes and be like, yes, my family would love this. And by the end of it, we really haven't done much to change our living situation because we've assumed our family members want all of our stuff. But guess what? They really don't. They really don't want all your stuff. They do not. Trust me. Part 4, here are some tips and tricks that will help you on your journey. Use the 1 in, 1 out rule for new purchases. I think this is a big reason why my in-laws, grandparents, my husband's grandparents are in the situation that they're in. They never one-outed anything, just everything kept coming in. So if you're thinking about buying something, you're perusing the aisles, you're on the good old Amazon. If something's coming into your home, first you got to think about where you're going to store that item, how you're going to organize it, how much care and attention will that item take within your home, but also think about, well, what could go in replace of that? Next, schedule mini monthly declutters, if you will. In fact, you could even create a calendar reminder in your phone so that every 2 weeks on a Sunday at 4 p.m., your buzzer goes goes off, it's time to do maybe a 30-minute or a 15-minute declutter of one area of your house. Now, these were great in my pantry for about 2 years, but I found a system that I like even better and swapped it out in place of these. So rather than holding on to these just because I do really like them, I'm gonna donate them to a family that could use them. It's these water bottle organizers, which you've seen in my videos. However, I don't need this many water bottle organizers. I have a space for all of our water bottles, and it's the max space that space is gonna hold for water bottles. Like, no more water bottles are going in there, so I will donate these. Keep a donation box in your closet, in your mudroom, somewhere that's easily accessible. That way, when you're doing these mini declutters on a regular basis, you have a place to put these items for donation, or maybe you want to put them for sale. Now, this is slightly embarrassing. I was able to go through that storage closet just a little bit more, and these are all items that I'm going to be donating. See, I didn't think I had that much to donate or declutter myself, and apparently I am guilty as well. These items no longer serve a function in my life. They no longer spark joy or bring joy, and I think somebody else could use them a bit more than me. I have a place in my daughter's closet. It's a box or a tote, whatever I'm using at that time, for all the items. And typically it's filled with clothes because there's a lot of rotating going on. But oftentimes I'll open a drawer and there's just random things in there. Or maybe it's house decor that just doesn't really spark that much joy in my life anymore. I'm a new phase of life. I don't really care for this item any longer, and that's okay. Someone else may enjoy that more. But have a space in your home where you have a donation/declutter box. Digitize whenever possible. Photographs, pictures, they can accumulate and take up a ton of space. So one way that I've done this in my life is we have these canvas photos that we get every year of our family. We hang them up, but I also rotate them out every year because we get new family photos. It's fun to see how much the kids have grown over the years. But then I'm left with all of these canvases, like tons of them. So what I ended up doing is just taking a picture of the canvas and then recycling them rather than holding on to all these canvases. Now, this is a great example. This is my son and his kindergarten teacher in this really nice frame. We don't keep this out anymore, and I don't really need to keep the frame because it's just gonna take up space within this box. But what I can do is take out the actual photo and save that. Again, my kids are not likely gonna wanna take these canvases with them as they get older. They're gonna go off on their own, go off to college. If they go off to college, they're gonna have their own place. Like, they don't want all of my stuff in their new life. But if I wanna see these canvases or photos, I can easily pull them up on my phone and look at the pictures and reminisce. And truth be told, I just don't really find the opportunity to be able to do that. But should I know how to access them. And I've saved a ton of space in my home. Part 5, how it feels after. Now, everyone talks about the freedom, the liberation that you're gonna feel after Swedish death cleaning. However, remember, this is an ongoing, lifelong process. I've been doing this for 6 years. And sometimes in the moment and months later or years later, there can be this sense of loss that you experience because letting go is hard. Maybe there's guilt, or you think to yourself, I should have saved, I knew it, I should have saved that rice maker because now I need it. However, I never used it for the past 10 years, but now this one time I need the rice maker. So the Swedish death cleaning thing doesn't really work because now I don't have the rice maker when I wanted the rice maker, even though I didn't use it for 10 years. I mean, this is some of the mental gymnastics that can go on with this process. So it's not always smooth sailing. There's gonna be ups, there's gonna be downs, things are gonna be easier, things are gonna be harder. Oftentimes when it's the holidays or there's more stress in our life, we go back to old patterns. We're not decluttering, we're bringing more into the home rather than the one in, one out rule. But just remember, it's a process, and be kind and gentle to yourself. As Margareta Magnusson says, the gentle art of Swedish death cleaning. But over time, you will realize that you feel lighter, you feel like you can breathe better, you feel more empowered and in control of your life. You may have disagreements with your spouse or your partner, but you can talk those things through when it comes to this process of Swedish death cleaning. I don't know one person that would say, no, this is terrible, I'm gonna hold on to all this stuff for my children, so then they have to deal with the burden of figuring out what to do with it. No one wants to leave behind that legacy. And per Margareta, your things are not who you are, but rather a part of your larger story. So if you're ready to take that path towards a more simple, more meaningful life, stress-free, a little less burdened, then Swedish Death Cleaning might be just it for you. Now, you're gonna need all the energy that you can get on your Swedish Death Cleaning and organizing journey. So make sure you click that link in the description box below to get 15% off your first order of Live It Up Super Greens. If we're not friends on Instagram, make sure that you follow me at Andrea Jean Cleaning, especially Instagram stories, because I post every single day. Cleaning motivation, organizing motivation, deals, discounts on things. Maybe you want a better way to organize your keepsake items and you don't already have something in your possession. Chances are I'm going to be posting some great organizational goodies for you. Also, if you're not following along here on YouTube on the community tab, make sure that you do, because I post on here, I would say, I don't know, 4 or 5 times a week. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it out with someone that you love and care about. And we have got to keep that fun going. So click this video on screen now, thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you, my friend, in the next one.